Today we're going to go over why it's so important for you to work on your feet. Our feet carry us through everything, everywhere we go, and I think a lot of the times whenever I'm meeting up with a client, one of my first questions is, do you have any past history in your feet, your knees, your hips, even shoulders, and it always starts down there, or at least more times than not it will. If you have a chronic foot problem, that's a bummer, but you can turn that foot into a stronger foot the more you work it, and the exercises that I'm going to show next can help you do that. So the first thing that I want to show you, first and foremost, is simply calf raises. Now, why are these guys so important, and why should we focus on the whole foot and not just up on our toes? So the answer to that is because our feet are designed to allow us to go in different directions. So we have this tripod, tripod like this. Okay, so we got the bottom of your big toe, that area, then we have this bottom of your pinky, and then that big heel part, which all typically take majority of our weight. Now you'll notice, especially in my feet, you can establish calluses depending on how you hold your ankles. So these calf raises that go up on your heels and then up on your toes, back and forth, is really trying to get your ankle to stay in alignment, okay? So keeping that ankle joint in center as you flip it up and down, okay? So it's a great warm-up to start your day, is to just kind of get up and down. The one thing that I have to caution you is not to let your alignment get out of whack. You can see my left side, it has so much flexibility in there. I've had a lot of sprains in the past, so I have been trying day in and day out to strengthen that ankle as I go. And I'll show you other exercises that you can do to do that as well. But the first one is really spreading out those toes, trying to feel each and every single point of your tripod so that the foot gets a nice big massage on the bottom of it. And by all means, if you want to try that one-footed, okay, that's even harder, but it practices your balance, strengthens your hip, strengthens your knee, and it gets you moving a little bit better with a little more strength, okay? So try that, and you can follow along with me right now while I'm doing them, okay? All right, so then the next one that we're going to practice, I'm going to get a side view so you can really see what's going on. And that's really trying to get the front movement of our ankle. So just by stepping forward and leaning that knee over the foot, see how the angle of my ankle changes? Okay, so I'm leaning forward, my tibia is now at an angle towards my foot, so I'm getting a good stretch back here, and then the same goes for leaning back. I'm going to lean back, okay, and stretch out the front side, okay, leaning forward, leaning back. And I typically like to do this against a wall, or you can use a dowel, and I'm not going to do it on the wall so because obviously you can't really see it, but if I position myself here, then I can really try to support myself as I do this, because you don't want to hurt this knee, okay? So as soon as you bring it over the toe, you're putting a lot of stress in it. So we want to avoid that, but we're trying to, create flexibility within that joint, okay? So go to the other side, test it out, kind of loosen it up. And the next thing we're going to go over is something I talk about constantly, and I show in videos a lot, and it's the use of a lacrosse ball. So when you're doing this exercise, kind of practice too stretching the back side of your heel when you go forward. So you want to keep that back heel down, and doing that on both sides. So if you didn't do that the first time, practice, feel the stretch. Your heel might even lift up a little bit as you go back and forth, and then do yourself a test here. So grab onto a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball, put it onto the floor, and start rubbing your feet out. And now that I'm trying to find mine, of course it's disappeared. So you just want to get the whole inside of your foot. So if this is your foot, really get into that arch, okay, on the side of your heel, and the center of your foot, and that way you're loosening up that myofascia under there. So when I just did that exercise, I really felt my back Achilles tendon was really tight. So I'm going to give it a little massage and kind of show you what happens. And I've been pretty good about trying to do this daily, but it's hard to just get that mentality to do a certain habit every day. But if you were to do it, I bet you'll probably feel a difference in the way you walk. If you're a runner, the way you run. And so just keep that in mind. Really get into those toes, get into the tough parts that feel like it's painful. Don't worry, if it's a sharp pain, then that might be worrisome, but you can talk to me about the difference between a temporary pain and an actual like injury pain, because I don't think this is that bad. Now, if you have foot problems though, this is not for you. Don't do this unless you have permission to do so. All right, so then when I go back, and I honestly feel a little bit more grounded after doing that. Okay, I'm gonna bring one step foot, and my heel is staying down now. Okay, so you can tell that it really does make a difference. But I did feel it more now in my calf. So the next step I would take is go on the floor and put it underneath my calf muscle and just kind of round it out under there. Okay, so really trying to get into the tight stuff. You can kind of see how I'm turning my leg back and forth. You can hold a tight spot, move your ankle around. It's gonna hurt. I know it's gonna hurt, especially if this is your first time ever doing it. But just go light. I honestly would say maybe use a tennis ball, or if you have like a squishier lacrosse ball, that might work a little bit better. They have specific massage balls as well that you can try out. So as soon as I did that, now I'm gonna go back out and oh my gosh, I don't even feel my calf anymore. It's so good. Okay, so it was quick to do that, but a good thing to practice if you want to gain strength in these feet. Okay, so then from this step, we're now going to practice the mobility in our ankle. And it all is the way we hold our feet adjusts how we hold our body. So as soon as you start to have a wonky foot, is what I like to call it, that kind of stays out when you walk, you are opening that hip, okay? So that hip joint is in the wrong position now. So if that's open, you're gonna have this turn, your whole hip frame is gonna turn to the side. You might start to feel some back pain. You might start to feel some knee pain, okay? So it starts at the feet. Practice this alignment. Go heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Practicing opening up those toes and getting the tripod of your foot to activate the way it's supposed to. All right, and yeah, so then as you get good at that, you also want to strengthen those muscles. So there's a lot of exercises that I can show you to strengthen the hips, strengthen the knees that are specific, but right now we're really just focusing on the foot. All right, and if you're a runner, it's really good to keep these guys loose. So even just kind of pedaling your feet out, turning your toe down is a good stretch for the front of the foot. Okay, same both sides. Go through these, see which ones you like, add it to your routine before you go out for a walk or a jog, and see if you feel a difference in the way you move and how you feel. You just might be pleasantly surprised with what you get. But I'm going to end here because I don't want this video to go too long. Try out those exercises when you have a chance and see if you have better improvement and stronger ankles. Talk to you guys soon.